Today's video is kind of a pile of miscellaneous stuff. I'm going to bring up first 2014 Reddit post by kidfearless about Rust. January 8th, January 10th. Under some information on the files of Rust and also unused files I found in Rust. Almost all items have blueprint. What that means is that in the game it literally uses kind of the blueprints that you're reading as a baseline for a set of real instructions. So it might be technically possible to add in new blueprints for new things just by using the built-in scripts. There's a vehicle, quote unquote, that's called a crane. It might actually be something else, but that's indicated, so now I got something to go look up. Early alpha, web-based mostly, weapons and armor parts still worked up to March 2013. But as most of you might be aware, builds like that may not be available that are downloadable. Snow sounds exist in the files, along with others like rain and such I found as well, and other people have since then. And the server had presets for env for environment, and then forecast. This was the weather phenomena capability that was either being bandied about by the developers or was part of the Unity game engine files that it was built on. And it allowed for a default, cloudy, CloudTest, colorful, paradise, and snowy. These may have been, again, part of the Unity game engine. They may have been part of a package that was used by them, since they did a lot of what some people might insultingly call an asset flip. But there it is for that. By the 10th, unused files listed included a soldier, which some of you might have seen in older versions of Rust Legacy being played when it was still a web demo. They were all just soldier characters with no real change in appearance. A constructor person, I've already done a video about that. I put in the word person. This person's not mentioning anything else. A compass, which honestly might be a useful thing if everybody could just decide which way north is, since it was rotated 90 degrees. An extra island called Rust Island. I've done a video about it and other things. And apparently a crescent moon and fireball texture, but it doesn't say which one. And then either visual effects or something referred to as heat refraction, rain, snow, fog, and clouds that would go along with those forecasts for environment, which would say, percentage of chance something would happen. I've actually ran that env.forecast thing, and it almost crashed the game engine when I used the oldest version I could find to see if it would still work. Also, it had some things referred to as ferfransPDW, personal defense weapon, Molot Vepr 12, GSR 1911. All of these were in a list of guns, apparently. And a file for something called Revolver Color Temporary Bulleted for Helk, which, if anybody's not aware, it was some request that was done apparently for Helk or request by him. And yesterday I learned Rust 2013's shoreline was near almost 200 meters, and by 2014, the shoreline was near more like 55 meters. That was a 60-meter sea level rise, and I've got images to show for it. I didn't see anybody mention this, so here we go. This is what it looks like in Rust Legacy 2013, and yes, this is all jumbled about to get lined up with the next image, and that's the water level afterwards. And I've tried to get it as close to ideal as I can. If I do a full zoom in, it does make it a little easier to tell. And yeah, this hunk of ground over on the left here, it became an island. And out there, that little spit of land, if we go back, was just another hill. So that's a very big change in water level or sea level. Go here, I'm going to click and click. And these are not lined up perfectly, obviously. I'm not trying to be perfect. I can't be. But that gives you an idea of how things changed from revision to revision. In fact, in this one, I didn't get it on image because I screwed up. But down here, there's a little puddle of water up to the top. When they brought up the water level, this created little areas like, well, the place where a lot of us call it where Lighthouse should be in Rust Legacy. Other areas had what looked fully like they were some sort of area you would go and have a ship docking area. Again, this was a 10-mile or 12-mile across big square island in the video game that had a lot of potential, and only one little section a couple of miles across in the lower left corner was really used. This is at sea level in the old version of the game, way down here, and this would be underwater 60 meters. This is Rust Island 2 that was referred in the previous files. I've already done a video explaining that this exists, and it only exists as a few things. A lot of the content's gone. This might have been the original first starting point map or island, and then somebody decided, yeah, that's too organic looking, because this looked, in my opinion, more organic than this one. This is, again, 10 miles across, and this one looks much smaller. And, just bringing it up. And now we do this one. This is a mapping website that I'm going to try to actually grab all the content from before it gets deleted someday. I'd love to have an archive of it. If rusthd.com has the actual files somewhere where they can be retrieved, I would love to have access to them, because I want to be able to I want to preserve this. Also, I want to do one more thing. You can hit the letter R on the page, and it's supposed to rotate to the right so it lines up like this one, which is more in line with what people see in the game, because down here is the main play area. Over here is a pit in the water. Over here, about half, almost exactly in the middle, right there, is a pit right there in the middle of it. Just silly stuff like that. And this is the map orientation most of us deal with in the game now. This one's rotated, but if we hit the R for rotate to the right, it does that. Now, if we right-click, we can hit the keys to get rid of things like A and H. So I'm going to hit H and A, and I'm going to hit R again and see if it retains it, and it does not. However, it does let you zoom in a bit, but it won't let you move up and down. It fixes your location tightly so that you can't do anything with it. And this is very frustrating. When people make a preference of how they want a piece of software to work and make it very hard-coded in and make it almost impossible to get around, that almost always involves doing something that'll make it very frustrating. But yeah, the only time it works is the method. I sometimes call this soft resistance or malicious compliance, but that's not appropriate at this point. But anyway, this will be at rusthd.com, and you can go visit if you want to. Just kind of a collection of little things I found from back in 2014 all the way to yesterday, about the fact that the water level changed dramatically between versions, which means there definitively has some differences in them. And I keep wondering, is there a way to lower the water level, raise it up, change the water from being lethal to just being water? Or, can I dry it out entirely so you're walking around on would amount to this big gray square with all of these details in it, and it just being a desert? Don't know. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And hope some of the information presented in this video is useful to you. Goodbye.